Hi, welcome to Laura's Life. I promised to show you chaining, so this is it. If you've never chained before, you definitely want to look at this first. Find the stuff that you need before you even get out of the truck and try chaining, because if you don't have the right stuff, it's just going to be a mess. So I've got my chains here. Now this is a single chain. There are double chains that go over both of your tires on your tandem. They're extremely heavy. If you're a woman, I suggest, if you have a choice, get the singles, and it'll be a lot easier. So on my chain here, there's two sides. This is the outside. The outside has these cams. You want to make sure the cams are in the open position. That's closed. This is open. I've got rubber snubbers. There's different kinds of rubber snubbers that you can get for chaining. I prefer these. They're easier for me. I just always have used those. This is a fifth wheel puller. This makes it so much easier. If you've got one, awesome, use it. You can get them at the truck stop if you want to get one. And this is the tool you use on the cams. Once you have it on your tire, that's how you're going to tighten them. So this comes free in a bag of chains. So if you're inheriting a truck that just has the chains and it's not like a brand new set of chains, make sure you've got this in your truck. They've got them like this, or ones that look like a T. They have a T handle here. It would be straight with a T, but it's for the same thing. It has this flat sided there, and that's what goes into the cam. If you don't have one of these, if you have a really wide screwdriver, you can use that too. Be careful though when you're using that, because it'll go all the way through and you might poke your tire or damage the sidewall. So just be careful if you're using a screwdriver. So the first thing I'm going to do is line my chain up to my truck. I'm making sure that everything is pulled out. My cams, I put them here. Just make sure that however you have your chains, when you throw them, the cams are on the outside. Get everything untangled. I'm putting this on my back tandem. This is my drives. This is the way my supervisor wants it, and it makes sense because this is doing most of the work in your tandems, so it makes sense. So if you get in here, I'll show you that if you take off the mud flap, and I use this, that's not what came in my mud flap. So the first time I had to change or had to put my chains on, I replaced the pin with this, and that just simply comes in and out real simple, so that when I had to chain up again, I didn't have to get my pliers out and pull that pin out. It just comes right out. So I'm gonna put that in my pocket so I don't lose it. Very easy to do, especially in the snow, so keep track of that. And then just take your mud flap out, because it's in the way. Don't forget to take it with you when you leave. So I'm going to throw my chain. What I want to do is get the last rung of my chain here and here. So I'm simply going to put it on. And then arrange it so that my last rung is as close to there as possible. I think I might have to move it, but let's see. This one I know is really tight on this tire. So yeah, I've got a little extra. I'm going to move it just slightly. So I open it up and moving it over just a little bit. That might be too much. This is an important step because you want to get this as tight the first time so that when you get all done, pull forward a couple of revolutions, you don't have that much tightening to do. So it is important that you get that as close as possible. I'm going to go back just a little bit. So you can see this one's going to be really tight. I don't have a whole lot of links. And what that tells me is in the back of this tire, I'm going to put it on the first or the second link, and that's all I need. But if you have a lot more room than this, you're going to want to go as many links as you need to make it tight. What I'm going to do is move my chains to the edge of the tire. That's not where I want them to be when I'm finished. But when I tighten it, it'll come forward. This is where the fifth wheel puller comes in. What I'm going to do is grab the last link on the inside and then put my tool through between my tires and grab it from this side. So, take the last link on the inside, put my fifth wheel puller through, and then take it through. See it coming out here? This way I can pull that chain tight. And let's see if we can get a shot of this. See? On the last link here. Now, I've had these on this tire before and I know it's real tight. So I'm putting my hook on the last one. Like that. And then simply let it. Oops. See, I missed it. There we go. Now, that's the hard part. That was the hardest part. Now I can put my chains tighter to this edge. And, I had a different chain on this one. Anyway, so you're going to go as tight as you can. You're going to take your tool, chaining tool, and tighten all your cams. And take your whatever it is you're using to tighten them up. It's important here that you don't stick it so that it's sticking in to the tire. So you don't want any damage to your tire, the sidewall in particular. And sometimes if I can, I'll grab that extra chain and just keep that tight so it's not flopping around making noise, hitting the fenders, etc. I usually use 3. Now, this is what it's going to look like. I'm not done yet, however. You want to get in your truck, pull forward or back up however you need to get a couple of revolutions on your tire. That's going to loosen this chain up if it's not tight enough. And then you'll get out, tighten these, or tighten the chain if you have to go a couple more links in the back or in the front to make sure it's really tight. A loose chain is going to come off. It's going to work itself off, and it's also going to damage your trailer or your fenders or what have you when it's going around. By the way, I think 35 is the max they recommend going for 35 miles per hour when you've got chains on. I see guys doing faster than that all the time. Totally up to you, man. Whatever. I go 35. If the conditions are bad enough that you need chains, you don't need to be going faster than 35. So, every state has their own rules about chaining up, which tires to chain up. I'll tell you what I do. I chain the outside tire of my back axle. That's 2 chains. Then I chain up either axle of my trailer. If you have a split axle, I suggest the last axle. If you don't, I don't really think it matters too much. So that's 4 chains, and that's usually what I throw. I know they recommend 6. The other set would either go on the inside tire of the same axle that you chained on your tractor, or the outside trailer of the front axle. I ask my managers when I start a job, how do you want me to chain? And they'll tell you, or you can look it up online and see what the state regulations are. I've never had to do more than 4. I don't run Alaska or Canada. And for me, if the snow is so bad and so deep that I need 6 chains, then I'm not going to be running. I don't think that was safe. And if you had to get out of someplace, if you were in the middle of nowhere and you needed to get out, then I would throw that extra set. So you would have that extra set. But that's it. That's all you need to know for chaining. Get out and try it once. Make sure your chains fit the tire that you're the tires that you have. A lot of times I'll find guys alongside the road, they're like, yeah, I didn't have the right size. They gave me 6 chains, none of them fit. So when you're starting that new job and they give you chains, make sure they fit your tractor, make sure they're the size for all of the trailers that you might be hauling. I've hauled for a lot of companies that had different trailers, and the different trailers had different size tires. So that is also a consideration. So yeah, happy chaining.